Let's try it out, see what happens.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready when you are, baby cakes.
Okay. So we're talking about the poem, If Silence Could Speak About Noise, What Would It Say? First line that stood out to me, or the first couple of lines, was why moments of silence are so loud, revealing noises that we often ignore, thoughts, breath, heartbeats. That was the first one that stood out to me.
Why?
I guess because that line spoke to me the most. Like I feel those things and I never thought about it, but once I saw them written down and heard you say it, like I realized that that is something that I experience. Like when it's really silent, you do notice your heartbeat more, you do hear your breath more. So out of the things that you listed, the things that you feel are loud when you're sitting in silence, thoughts, breath, heartbeats, which one gets loudest for you when everything's really quiet?
Thoughts. I feel like thoughts.
Give me more.
Yeah. It's like when you're trying to sit in a moment that's quiet, it almost feels like your thoughts are screaming at you.
Yeah.
And they're almost screaming at you to a point where you need noise to drown them out. So yeah, it's thought.
I was going to say for me, I noticed my breath the most, like breathing. Because I feel like that's when you're moving and you're doing day to day and you're in the midst of chaos and noise and all that, you don't notice your breath as much as you do when you're sitting and it's quiet.
Yeah.
And you can kind of feel it in your body. For me, I would say breath. Okay, another part that stood out for me was actually the last line, which happens a lot in your poems, right? We
Yeah.
always are taken back by the last line. But I imagine if silence could speak about noise, it might reveal that noise isn't its opposite, but its reflection. Shit's deep.
Yeah.
Give me more about that.
Yeah, that line, it really came from the more that I thought about this concept of if silence could speak about noise, the more it became apparent that it was hard to, like the lines between silence and noise were blurring for me. And but like the few lines in the poem, like, silence, why are moments of silence so loud? Or why are, when, you have noise that is deafening, it creates silence. Or why when a jet passes, it passes in silence, but it is chased by noise. Like these concepts made me really feel like there was a blurred line between these two concepts and maybe they were the same thing. So that line really was just my attempt to share that maybe if silence could speak about noise, it may just share that we're not opposites, we're reflections of each other.
You have two poems about silence. There must be something about silence that really makes you think and hits you. Why do you think you write about it so often, or think about it so often?
I think we live, especially in today's world, we live in such a noisy world.
Our house is noisy.
Well, yeah, we have 3 kids.
Yeah.
They're nonstop. We also have cell phones that are constantly alerting us of something. We have email, we have our calendars, we have our jobs. I mean, there's so much noise around us. And this idea of silence is an intriguing one to me, of, if you can sit in silence, what possibilities might come from it. In one of the poems, there was a line that said, if silence could speak, maybe it would share of all of the answers that have been found in its presence.
Yeah.
And that's like really the intriguing part of silence for me, is that when you live in a world that's so noisy and there's so many things coming at you all the time, sometimes it's hard to find your way. And silence, for me at least, becomes this space where you can maybe find answers and find your, just find your direction away from all of the inputs and the distractions.
Do you need silence when you write your poems?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, one more line that really stood out to me. this is sort of, I mean, it's at the beginning of the poem, it's the second line. Is silence truly the absence of noise, or is that just what we assume? I don't know, that line hits me because it is something that you assume, because like you said, most people look at silence as noise is opposite. You're trying to open people's mind to maybe that's not what it is. Maybe it's a reflection. And I just think it's interesting that you put that at the top, because I feel like that really grabs people in, because it's an assumption that's never really argued. Like, I've never heard the argument, is silence and noise a reflection of each other? Are they each other's buddies rather than enemies? Like, I've just never heard that argument. So I thought that was cool how you put that right in the beginning. It really hits people. Talk to me more about that.
Well, I put that there just to set the stage
Yeah.
of what this poem was going to be about, like just to open up that question of maybe these things aren't opposites. But as I was writing this and really thinking about it, something I was struggling with was actually really finding a moment where silence is truly present. Like silence in terms of how I understand it, which is like absent of noise.
Yeah. It
But if
feels like
you-
it's
it-
never.
Like I've tried to think about, even like if you are, so like I got an opportunity to go to Sonos's headquarters in Boston. And Sonos, they make speakers. And they have this room in their building that's for testing sound. And it's this room where literally they have foam all around the room so that sound can't travel, it can't bounce off the walls. So like when you speak, you can't hear it because it doesn't have anything to bounce off of.
crazy.
The only way you can hear it is if you were like right in front of me and you put your ear to my mouth.
Yeah.
Because then you catch the sound wave. But what's crazy, even in a room like that, where you could be in that room, sound doesn't travel, and you can try to speak, or if you don't speak, if you sit, you still hear something. Like silence has a sound. It's like crazy.
It does have a sound.
Like if you try to sit in silence, you hear something.
And if you don't hear something, your thoughts are moving. There's just constant movement, at least. That movement feels like noise. So
Yeah.
it's,
Or even our internal organs
Yeah.
moving, our
Yeah.
heart's beating, our, just the
I know your belly's
the
making
rhythm of the-
noises, or
Yeah, it's like, is there a moment where silent, like, is it possible to have a moment that's void of noise?
yeah.
Which is like, it's just a question, but I struggle to find that.
Yeah, I do too, and I didn't even know that I did until you wrote that, which I think is cool. And I feel like that with a lot of your poems. But it's really interesting to think about. It kind of makes my brain like,
Yeah, that's how I feel when I try to answer all these questions. It's like, it kind of makes my brain hurt thinking about it, but I think what's fun is that it allows me to stretch my mind and to ponder things that, I just knew.
okay, I'm going to flip it on you. If silence could speak about noise, what would it say? Hot seat.
And I'm not allowed to say the poem because it's all in the
No,
poem.
no.
If silence could speak about noise, what would it say? It might say that in noise, you can find me.
That's a good answer.